Yes, another lucid dream, I yelled as the road swing as I rode the swing an invisible rhinoceros down and severed all the heads of the Hydra with one fell swoop. I woke up in a country sack ward. The attending nurse told me of my acid trip blackout and what I did to my family with a machete. I began to cry as my wife wrapped me in her arms. After 10 years, she still doesn't know she's dead. The gas station sign said 9.99 a gallon, and I thought that can't be right. But when I saw the stations and the lines of cars and the fist fights, I figured out I better turn on the news. I found this great me subreddit where you post two sentence horror stories. Some of them are pretty disturbing. The best part is that nobody even believes that are true. Well, I was pretty sad to find out that my father was being beaten and had almost died. After the way he used those girls' body, my only regret was not finishing the job. I used to love heavy rain, but not when it pours nonstop for 30 days. I'd like to see the sun again. My curfew was an hour after dark. No questions. When she called saying that I'm late in the sun sky, high in the sky, I knew something was off. Sleep in the back seat, the relaxation of her body is the only reason Polly survived the crash. Now awake and at the wheel, she was finally able to see her parents again. My bullet hit the deer and it passed through him, said the boy to his father. Remember to always be sure of what's behind your target, son. But you've got a future, and we can't leave any witnesses, father replied, slowly advancing on the paralyzed hunter and unsheathing his skinning knife. Muscle had once weighed over 30 pounds. So seeing such a low number on the scale was enough to bring tears to his eyes. He was down to 93 pounds, but the doctor still had no idea what was eating up his insides. I wake up next to a dead body. She looks exactly like me. My time machine took me to London tonight. I didn't know when. That was little man came out of the shadows, singing, "You seem lost. You seem lost, miss. My name's Jack." I took a gun to my head and pulled the trigger, thinking it'll bring sweet relief from my miserable life. It was the moment that I was born in a hospital room. I deserve to live it over again. I've been trying to make my Halloween decorations even scarier this year. I decided it was time to go for a more real approach. As a failed lab experiment escaped and started wreaking havoc, I grabbed my work provided gun. Now I know why it was loaded with only one bullet. A man stopped on my way to college today. He had a broken arm and asked me if I could help him pick up the books he dropped. And I bent down to help him out of the corner of my eye. I watched him open the car door with his yellow Von swing, and it grabbed a tie arm. I asked my doctor how much longer I had to live after receiving my diagnosis, and he responded 5. Confused, I asked him 5 what? Then, through tears, he put his hand on my on my shoulder and softly whispered. I could barely hear it, for she had lovely lips, so soft against mine. If only her body was still warm. I always thought the floaters in my eye looked like tiny little worms. I just wish they wouldn't use it as their breeding ground. A love worth killing for. After these 3 long years, I finally have my husband to myself. I thought as I slipped the poison into your food. Since my daughter's birth, it seems my husband spent every moment with her. After hours of being trapped in a lift, I was finally rescued, but despite what you may think, the worst part wasn't feeling alone inside the metal box. I was realizing I wasn't. After the accident with our son, I told my wife, and as parents, you're supposed to have eyes in the back of your head. Tonight, she saved her head and I discovered she has 10. I could have done so much better, I said with grief. Sir, you're the one who murdered him, the puzzled officer responded. The child stared at me indifferent and slowly raised the note in silence. I unfolded the page. I read my activate when I realized what this meant. I was back in the closet and the child stared at me, indifferent, and slowly raised the note in silence. After 20 years of marriage, I realized my husband's snoring had finally stopped. The police were baffled when I couldn't smell him disposing. Old Mr. Fisher was doing the dishes when he heard a loud shriek from the basement. It startled him. I need to learn to gag them right, was his first thought. What a beautiful cow, I thought to myself, as a cow beyond the fences rise, it said. It isn't until the neck keeps extending and twisting that I realize it's not a cow. I don't like the number 13. So I put one more head on the shelf. Some months back, I cut my hand when a dog I had met bit me as I went to pet it. For some reason, my hand has been shaking uncontrollably, and I can't seem to make myself take a bath like I always do. I peered under the lined wrap around my leg and determined what the wound was, healing nicely. A soldier restrained me as the doctor shoved a piece of leather into my mouth. Plestisar, just below the knee. When the patrol ripped open, the ships began pouring through. We knew our planet's resources would be consumed in a matter of weeks. The demands for energy and a week of demise had become legendary in centuries since they left Earth and the Milky Way galaxy.